Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the one I've been waiting for. As everybody knows, I love Liskarm. Liskarm is my tank of choice, even over all the 6 stars I have. Which is kind of funny given how her skills cycle. They're all offensive based. I think no, defensive based. I don't fucking really know. Defensive. They're both defensive based. All I know is that they cycle well and she's good. She's set and forget in that aspect, which is part and parcel of why I do love her. So that was the map. The enemy forces do actually give us a boss. We have Skull Shatterer in there as the boss, but that's okay because of this particular map. It really doesn't matter. Now, my Liskarm is an exceptionally high level. My Liskarm is E260, and that's because her second storyline actually requires E260. Prior to this, I'll actually skip that because you guys don't want to watch that crap, but that's alright. So that said, her map is really dirt simple. I, with my Liskarm, was able to complete with either or skills. For those of you who have a fresh Liskarm, I would probably suggest Charge Defense. For those of you who have a higher level Liskarm like my own, I would suggest using Counter Arc, but as I said, because Liskarm obviously isn't who you are relying on for offense, sort of, and I will explain why I say sort of further on later, you can use either or. So just, and you'll know by the end. By the time Skull Shatterer comes out, you'll absolutely know which of the two you'll need to use. So I'm going to use Counter Arc because I think personally that's the easier way to go about it. So when we go in, we're going to see a suggestion recommended roadblock point. We are going to say, bollocks to you, parts. We don't want to put our roadblock there. We want to put our roadblock here. You can put your roadblock anywhere there. Just make sure that this side lane here is open. We're going to put another roadblock up here, and that's going to funnel everything through this center lane. So then we're going to go healer facing down. Now Warfarin comes with skill 1, so she is just as is. A Meteorite's going to go here. She's going to be facing down the middle lane. And our Liskarm needs to be right next to Meteorite, adjacent to Meteorite. That is super important. And the reason for that is that we are going to be using what is called a Liskarm battery on Meteorite. So I'll see if I don't think pausing it will actually stop the numbers from showing up. No, it won't. So you'll notice that you see a little bit of SP going on. And that is because every time Liskarm gets hit, she has a chance to send skill points to an adjacent target. If you really want to make the absolute most of how this entire setup is going to go, you can move your Warfarin forward 1, but I do not suggest it because then things get a bit janky when Skull Shatterer comes out, and if you're running on a low level squad to start with, it's probably not going to be beneficial for you to have damage sources going left, right, and center. So let's just put everything here in a nice straight line. Anything that dies in Warfarin's field of attack obviously gets her extra skill points as well. Now the reason you could also suggest, well, why don't I move everyone forward and have Warfarin aiming over here to the right? Well, the problem with that is that sometimes in very rare instances when we get big clumps of targets like this, they can often slide off. So where we would be using Liskarm's skill, which will just attack in her straight lane of fire, which you see here, using her skill doesn't change that lane of attack, it's exactly the same. Sometimes, in very rare instances, things can slide off. They can end up out of where you want it to attack, and then it all goes to hell. And that's the last thing you really want. So as you can see, my level 20 Meteorite is doing a good enough job with the Liskarm battery, so that's why I said you can use skill 1 or skill 2. I just like skill 2 a bit better because if you get in a bit of a pickle, then it helps out, but it's irrelevant. Like I said, if your Liskarm is not E260, then you may want to bring skill 1 because her survivability will just go through the roof. So what we want to do is we just want to let this play through. If you're ever getting concerned, just whack that skill and Liskarm will wipe out everything in front of her. Remember that she is going to be down for the count for 5 seconds after that skill goes through. So we want to sort of not do that if we can avoid it. There will be points where we have to use it, which will come about now when Skull Shatterer walks out. So see, we've got a whole big group of enemies here, so I'm actually going to use it here so it runs through when these guys come through. So Liskarm will just pew 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 away through all that. She'll go down for the count, but she won't care because Meteorite will finish that job off. And here is where you will know if you need to be using skill 1 or 2. So far, as you can see, my Meteorite is doing exactly what I needed to do with the Liskarm battery. So no one cares. Skill points are just flooding through to Meteorite. She's, let's say, every second shot to be generous. She's using a splash attack, which is great. That's what I want. If you've got your Meteorite on Mastery 3, she probably will be firing every shot. So, food for thought. And as you see, I've only used Liskarm's skill once at this point, and that's only because I was slightly concerned about what was going on. Slightly concerned, slightly being the keyword. So, skill 1 is still completely viable at this point in time. The big point is get that Meteorite Liskarm battery moving. So, here is where the big guns start firing out. And as you can see, my Liskarm is just dropping. So what we want to do now, I'm going to stick a bomb in there, and I'm going to use Liskarm's skill. Now, you guys are going to have to be very mindful of that on your own, because obviously my Liskarm nearly died. If yours is a lot lower, panic alarms and everything starts going. Now, you only want to really stun this group here. I delayed it a lot later, so I managed to stun some other stuff in here, which is completely fine, but these guys that are throwing the metal bars, those are the ones you want to stun. That's where your damage is coming from. So now we're going to go... I'm actually going to wait for this to run its course, and then I'm going to pop another one down. Boom. And another one. Just because Liskarm's stunned. She just came out, drop another one. Drop another one. When she comes out again. So, 12 seconds is a long stun. Drop another one. Drop another one. That's it. Nice and simple. You can use skill 1 or skill 2, doesn't matter. Because your main source of damage is going to be coming from Meteorite, using that Liskarm battery. So make sure adjacent means top, bottom, left, right only, not the surrounding 8. Just bear that in mind. Some of you may not use Liskarm because you may prefer your own 6-star tanks, or you may prefer Korra. But yeah, so top, bottom, left or right, and Liskarm will share her skill points every time she gets hit. And that means that Meteorite will just keep on firing those big attacks. Say every second, if you've got her at skill 3, which lowers the cost of the attack, it'll probably happen every attack. So nice and simple, that one. You can use any skill you want. Just take a pick, use your own initiative on which you think will help your own Liskarm sit there and get pummeled harder. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one, guys. If this video did help you, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you've got any questions, queries, concerns. I'll get back to you as best I can. And stay tuned for the next one.